25 years in journalism and 20 years in RTE, which seems to have gone by very quickly. There you go. Congratulations on the magazine. I was just having a flick through it. It's really, really brilliant, really well produced. It looks like some really interesting articles in it. I was noticing that I don't think I've listened to any of the top 10 albums of 2014, aside of my age and not the top albums. And what Owen was saying about having the actual physical product in your hand is so true, because if you're going looking for a job, what you need to have is a portfolio. You need to show prospective employers that you can do the most important thing, which is A, write, and B, come up with ideas for stories. Because every news editor and every paper and every radio station and every website in the town, every morning they go in, they've got a big blank space to fill, and they need people to fill that space. And when you go out to look for a job, what you need to be able to show is that you have the skills to produce what they're looking for and to come up with ideas and fresh angles on things. And that's something that I'm sure all of you can do. And having this in your portfolio is going to be a real help. One other small piece of advice, if you don't mind, to give you is when you're sending in emails or whatever to news organisations, please try and make sure that you spell things correctly and use the proper grammar. I'm sure nobody in Ballyfermot would be guilty of this, but I got 2 emails last year from people on a different journalism course looking for some comments for their thesis that they were writing. Now, the first one was well written and was very pleasant and polite, and I replied to it, and I got a nice thank you afterwards, and I thought, I'll remember her. The second one was full of grammatical and spelling errors, and she didn't bother sending a thank you after I replied to her. I thought, I'll remember you as well. So it is important when you're making that first impression to just make sure that your spelling and your grammar are okay, because if they're not, it's likely they're likely to just hit the delete button. Getting into journalism, getting a job in journalism, sometimes it's about luck. I got my first break in journalism because my dad fixed Eamon De Valera's glasses. Not the real Eamon De Valera, his grandson who was running the Irish Press at the time. He was on an airplane, the screw came out of his glass, he was boosting around with it. My dad was sitting beside him and fixed his glasses and said, "You're not Eamon De Valera. I have a son who's interested in journalism. Oh, tell him to write in and put his name on file." And eventually, through that, I got a job. So it just goes to show, sometimes just being in the right place at the right time, you can get the story or you can get the job and make all the difference to your career. The media landscape is changing very fast. You don't need to be told that. As I say, 25 years ago I started in Burkey. We typed our stories on manual typewriters. An honest to God copy boy used to come down, tear the bit of paper off and run down to the case room where it was set into lead to be printed in the paper. You're not going to have to worry about that. You're going to be working with new technologies that are completely beyond the likes of me. New technology, new media, they're a problem for people of my generation, they're an opportunity for people of your generation, because you know what it's all about and you know what you can offer organisations. I'll give you a couple of quick tips if you don't mind. One, if you're going to go into journalism, learn shorthand. It's an absolute pain to actually learn it, but once you have it, it can be a big boost. Nowadays, doorstep, you see everybody with their little recorder out, they go back to the office, they then laboriously transcribe what was said. If you have a good shorthand note, you're halfway there. Now, I didn't listen to my shorthand teacher when I was in journalism college, and to my regret, my shorthand is nearly as bad as my own handwriting. I could do it, I just can't read it. Think about joining the union. I never regretted joining the NUJ. A lot of employers will tell you, you don't need to join a union, we'll look after you. Those are the sort of employers you need to watch out for. Back in the day, journalism was badly paid, and journalists were treated even worse, and unions helped to change that. I think nowadays conditions and pay are getting worse all the time. There is a race to the bottom. The union hopefully can help stop that. Always write stuff down, because you might think that you're not going to forget the name of your co-presenter on the radio show that you've worked with for 10 years, but believe me, one day you will. And if you don't have it written down, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to be highly embarrassing, both for you and for the listener. We had a good example of it this morning on Morning Ireland. I don't know if anybody heard the 7:10 business news on Morning Ireland. I suspect, since most of you are students, that the answer would be no. But Colin McCullagh introduced the business news with a flourish. He said, "And we now have the business news. I'm joined by Brian Finn." Actually, it's Emma McNamara. Oh. Now, that takes some skill to get the gender wrong, but forgetting the name takes no skill at all. You will do it, so do please write everything down. And most importantly, keep asking questions. Keep asking questions until you get an answer. and sometimes ask the question again anyway, just for the crack. And remember who you're asking questions for. You're not asking questions for yourself, you're asking questions for your listener or for your reader, who has a right to know what people in power, people in positions of authority are doing about a particular thing. So always remember in the back of your mind the person who's going to be reading the finished product or listening or watching or whatever it is. And it's up to you to get for that listener, for that reader, for that viewer, the answers out of the person you're questioning. Or sometimes get the person not to answer the question, which can be just as revealing for the person at home. And finally, remember to have fun. Journalism is a fantastic career, and the wider media as well. Fantastic career, lots of excitement, lots of interest, sometimes long periods of boredom while you're waiting for something to happen. But as somebody once said, it certainly beats the hell out of working for a living. So congratulations again on this, and the very best of luck to you in your future. Thank you.